Do you ever wish you could walk down the street to your favourite cafe? Perhaps you would like to be able to walk to school, to work. Or maybe petrol's just too expensive. Hang on, can you guys hear me alright? Maybe we go somewhere quieter. As I was saying, the way we move around a city can shape how we live in it. The human scale takes us to different parts of the world looking at urbanization and modernization in full effect and its environmental, social and cultural impacts on people, and how the way in which cities are planned can hinder or further these outcomes. Leading the methodologies presented in the film is the one and only Jan Gehl, a Danish architect who looks at what actually makes a good city. For him, it's about measuring and putting people at the center of all cities. This film review dissects 3 themes. The first one is social inequality, involving gentrification and accessibility, caste centricism via urbanization, and measuring people, which involves Jan Gehl's methodologies again. So let's get into social inequality. Let me take you to Dhaka in Bangladesh, where the urban morphology is characterized by the rapid, unplanned growth, particularly the migration from the countryside, resulting in lower socioeconomic working class in the greater city. Social inequality was seen here when, in effort to reduce traffic congestion in Dhaka, the government implemented a ban on rickshaws, which saw many of the working class's livelihoods diminished. And then it becomes known to us that the car industry funds the government. In China, we're seeing a similar circumstance where gentrification has occurred due to the mass urbanization in cities like Chongqing, and this scene I particularly like because it represents the entirety of the movie, in my opinion. And maybe also it's a reflection that urbanization has a preference for able-bodied citizens. Caste centricism via urbanization. The film talks about a battle between nations on who can build more highways as a reflection of who's more developed. We're presented with several different countries, all developing in the same exact way. How can one size fit all? Jan Gehl, proposes that a healthy city is one that cycles, one that walks, one that breeds on social interaction. Because the whole idea is that you would interact with people in a way that you can't while you're driving. However, as the global population continues to increase, we are going to need more ways to get people from A to B. And in countries like China, where efficiency is its greatest asset, Jan Gehl's ideologies don't necessarily align with this. And looking at all the different cities in the film, they all value cars differently. It's more than just getting from A to B. For places in China and in Dhaka, car ownership is actually a symbol of wealth. And this is completely different to Copenhagen, Melbourne, and New York City. And the film actually presents these cities as more active and social. The one-size-fits-all approach to pedestrianization through change in China, presented in the film, clearly does not work. So is Jan Gehl biased when he talks about a good city? I mean, sure, I might agree with it, you might agree with it, and Jan might agree with it, but that doesn't mean that it's the right approach for everyone. But as cities become denser and we have less public space, there kind of needs to be a solution for everyone. Which brings us to the last theme. Measuring people. The film doesn't go into great detail on the how. We do know that data can help designers change public spaces for people. Even simple observations and people counts are enough. Let's head to New York, where the implementation of measuring people versus measuring cars has resulted into public spaces opening up and opportunities for new socialization. Where formal spaces have been made, the opportunity of informal uses have been created, like this snowball fight in Times Square, which was completely spontaneous and also a really fun scene. Another different form of measuring people takes us to Christchurch in New Zealand, where children were asked to use Lego to create a city they would live in as a means of measuring what people want post-climate disaster. The film ends with this inspiring scene, and I think it's a reflection on the power of measuring people for social justice in public spaces. And I think this framework can be used in a different way with Chongqing in China, for example, because maybe the city is not like Copenhagen, but maybe it's something else. And I think that needed to be discussed in the film. But when I think about measuring people and what we experienced in the last 7 years with COVID, it changes what we value. And times like those are also worth measuring. And as an example, the pedestrianized George Street occurred as a result of COVID-19. To conclude, the human scale offers a well-rounded view on important urbanization issues that are relevant to today. however, maybe falls short in expressing a narrow-minded response to cultural and social differences across different countries. And what about your city? Would Jan Gehl say your city is a good city?